Uh-huh. Now we're recording. Okay, so Rick and Morty API. Literally, it's rickandmortyapi.com. So they just have like, I think they have all of the Rick and Morty characters. I'm not entirely sure. Could be all of them. I don't know. So if we head on over to their docs, this is one of the best APIs that I've ever seen for documentation. It's fantastic. We're not going to be doing GraphQL. We're just going to be doing, the REST API, similar to what you guys covered today. So if you, I guess we're just going to do some of the characters in here. So they have different things in here for, ID, name, whether or not they're dead or alive, or they don't know, what episodes they showed up in. If you wanted to link to that endpoint, you would have like a link. Where
what's the URL endpoint means?
This, the URL endpoint?
Mm-hmm.
This is a URL endpoint.
It's just the link.
Yeah, it's the link. So URL is a universal resource locator. And so it's,
I don't know why they use an endpoint like it.
So like an endpoint would be, that is an endpoint. So like if you got all characters, it gives you an array on your results, and you'll notice, let's see, what was the endpoint that we're talking about? So the URL, let's see if I can find it in here. URL is this. So if you notice, that's an endpoint right there. So that's, that just says that that's where the URL stops. It doesn't go any further. So you'll find that that's just the term to say that's the full URL. But they like to say endpoint because it's fancy.
Also, it's unique, right? So that's only for every.
So it's kind of like with the project that I'm doing on labs. So like you have an endpoint for like say I'm a user. Yeah. So like if I'm a user from the labs project that I have, and then I could just give out a route to me and not to, like a list of other people, and then they have to search for me. So that's an endpoint, and technically all of these are technically endpoints. Like this origin, that's an endpoint. This one here is an endpoint. But if you notice, it's got some pretty neat things in here. Like it actually tells you where the next page is, or where the previous page is. So that's kind of cool. I don't think that's going to be what we're going to do today, but for the most part, we're just going to try to get one set of results and display it, and then maybe make it so we can search and display those results.
Well, I have a question. Like each time you access to each like character, doesn't mean you hit the API one time, right?
Well, on this one, we're only going to be hitting the all characters. So like we're going to be going to this. So if I copy and then go to it here, I've hit it one time.
I see. So you got all the characters.
Yeah. But
for today's project on the NiceS API, is there any way we can do that for a week? Or like we got to hit the API every time we get every day?
Their API on the one today is you would have to hit like 7 times.
Times 4. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know.
So that's just the way that their API is set up. That's what I was saying, is this API is set up completely different. It depends on what the API's capabilities are. So as far as I know, NASA Photo of the Day only shows one photo because it's the photo of the day, not the photo of the week or weekly photos. So, but like say you wanted a calendar, like say you had like a calendar with, like 30 days or 31 days or 28 days, whatever, you could actually go through and put it as the background for each one of those if you wanted to. But you would need however many days in the month there are worth of hits. So you might actually run out of all your API hits in one go if you're not careful.
I mean, I try to test for 7 days, and every time you want a 1 day, you get a 1 hit.
Yep. Yeah, that's the hard part. So
yeah, I turned off the API on mine for now just to work on the structure.
Just so you can make it work.
Because it locked me out again. I'm like, damn it.
You just have a random photo now.
Yeah, a good practice with API is the first time you console log it, just open up Notepad, copy paste the whole response.data, and then set an example data constant equal to that object.
Yeah, and then you can practice with it and then make it live later. Mm-hmm. So, but I think with the exception of if you're doing like put and post, like you're doing modifications on that array, which we're not even covering until, I don't know, I guess we're going to do a small amount at the end. So next week, we'll do a little bit of that, but it's very, very lightweight. It's not even authenticated with, tokens or anything. So, but yeah, so the data on this one gives us different data than what you would get from any other API. So if you're consuming an API, each API is different. So, the first thing that we have to do is we need to see if we can get the information. And so let's, the dog's behind me asking me for snacks. So let's start a new project right quick. Let's demos. Let's see, we're going to call this Rick and Morty. Also, I don't think I uploaded the calculator. I'll do that here in a little bit as well. I forgot to do it last night. So we have a completely blank project. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a let's create React app in the current directory. Oh, come on. Did I really mess that up? Create? Yeah, that should do it. Let me look that up. Give me 1 second. I'm on a different screen. Let's see here. Oh, it's not less. Jeez, I'm doing crazy. It's not less. It's yarn. I'm losing my mind. We're not using less at all. Obviously, I've been helping people all day. I'm like, wait a second, what am I typing? So anyway, so we've got our create React app going. As usual, my system's slow, so it's going to be a little bit. But the next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to need to add an Axios. So that's easy. Just yarn add Axios. And then we can get started on it. And I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday, where I'm just going to butcher all the progressive web application stuff because I'm not ever going to make this a progressive web application. So I guess it probably would have been easier if we did the instructors method, because that's actually faster getting things up and running. But this is what I'm comfortable with. So, but man, did this thing get bloated over the last year. This used to take no time at all. I can hear my fans going on the laptop. It's like, oh man, this is processor intense. Yeah. Core 2 Duo is going full steam ahead. Running the nine-year-old laptop. It is proof that you can get stuff done even with old equipment on web development, but it's just slow.
Oh yeah, my 10-year-old laptop's so slow.
Oh yeah, I just think it's hilarious. Is like I have people like in one of my last groups, he had like a 2016 MacBook Pro, and he was like, "Oh, it's just so slow. I need to upgrade to the 2018." And I was just like, "Dude, seriously? No." Or the 2019 MacBook Pro. I'm like, if you just want a keyboard, get the upgraded keyboard. I do it for the keyboard.
I built my desktop in 2014, and it's still going strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, my previous MacBook is a 09, 08, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a 08 too, and it won't let me install the VS Code.
Yeah.
The downside is I can't transfer my Adobe off onto my new one because it stopped backwards compatibility at Catalina.
Yeah.
I'm like,
So, like,
son of a...
So like I still have an older 27-inch Mac from 2009, and it still works pretty well just because it has a lot of RAM, but there's a lot of weird things that it does with a lot of the modern software. So like VS Code stopped updating for whatever reason, and I haven't figured out why. So that's why I switched back over to the PC side. Just, you know, I'm not going to spend a lot of money on a computer right now. So now we've got this. So let's go ahead and add in Axios.
If they vote through tomorrow about the money again, I might buy a new one.
I don't know necessarily you need to buy a new one, but you know. But you know, I've had a few people say that they blew their entire stimulus money on
A new computer.
Mine went to paying off my bill because I did the Mac financing credit card, and I'm like, that year's coming up. I might as well just pay it all off.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is what you call first world problems.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna open up VS Code right quick. And move this down so that we can see it. All right. So I'm gonna run the start script and probably make this a little smaller. Yes, it takes forever. Oh man, the air conditioning finally came on. It's been off all day. I have it set like at 85, so when it's hot, I can get away with the fan, but at night I can't sleep if it's too warm. I crash and burn, and I don't sleep very well with it super hot outside.
Yeah, we replaced our unit about a week or two before Lambda started.
Yeah.
It broke down, I think, in July.
Well, it's not like
miserable.
It's not like you live where it gets hot or anything.
No. I mean, I worked during most days or stuff like that, so it wasn't horrible. But then I was like, I'm going to be stuck inside all day, every day. It needs replacing now.
So as usual, I don't really like any of this stuff that they do to us on these. So like, I don't particularly like their favorite icon. What else don't I like? I don't like that. That's for a progressive web app, more progressive web app stuff. I think that's just a robot's TXT file so that they can know that it's a web app instead of that kind of stuff. I really hate like all of this. So like normally what they have is they have this ID equals root on there. And that's like the only thing that they actually use in all of this. So I'm just going to delete this and then go exclamation point. We're going to change this to and then you need an insertion point. So like I've had a couple of people ask in the past, why can't I just attach it to body? You know, why can't I just mount it to body? That makes even more sense. Well, They don't like it when you do that, and it throws errors. So we just throw it on div, and then I just do class container. So we'll save that and watch it explode. Target container is not a DOM element. It just explodes.
Doesn't create React app do that automatically for you?
Huh?
Like, doesn't create React app set up your index.js to automatically already target the root?
Oh yeah.
container?
Yep.
Okay.
So like if you look on this here, it's trying to go to root, get element by ID root, but I'm just going to do a query selector. And then go to container, save it. Let's see, target container is not a DOM element. What? Let's see here. Div class container. Yeah, that should work.
We need a dot, right?
Ah, yeah, you're right. I'm getting old. All right, so that's still the exact same thing. That's kind of a little waste of time to do that, but I'm just kind of trying to show you guys that's all that you really need. I mean, I'm not even using a favorite icon. I mean, if we want, we can go over here and we can inspect this and go to the top here, look at their head, and you'll find their fav icon over here, and we'll just like copy theirs because why not? Yeah, here you go. There. So we're gonna save image. Yeah, I guess we could probably do that. We're just gonna do fav icon. I guess we can do ping. It'll be fine. All right, and then I'm going to move that into the project folder. Probably get another window open. You guys can't see the screen, but I'm just moving it into the project directory. Oh. Let's see, we're under demo, web 31, Rick and Morty, public. And I'm just gonna drop this over here. Okay, so like you can also notice that it says linked rel icon href. So we'll just copy that. So yeah. So all right, let's see if that works. Yeah, so now we've got our little Rick and Morty demo over here. So now we have stolen their favorite icon. Hooray. So that's pretty much done. We don't have to touch the index.html file anymore. I don't like any of this stuff. I don't really need to worry about strict mode right now. So we're just going to do app and document query selector container. Still working. Haven't broken anything. Get rid of that. So this is like the bare minimum, in my opinion, to getting this working in a modern React system. It's just, I don't know, a nice little one-liner, and it's done. So we've got app as a component. It's being mounted to the container, and we still have the spinning logo. I don't really like the spinning logo, so let's go into app. We're gonna get rid of all of this. Doesn't like logo. We're just gonna keep div here, and we're gonna say hi. Okay. Okay, so it says hi. I'm also going to get rid of a few other little files. I'm not going to do any testing. It's outside of the scope of what we're learning right now anyway. If you guys do get like a spare chance to start learning about testing, now's a good time to do that. Kent C. Dodds has a fantastic course, but it costs money. If not, just watch a lot of YouTube videos. You'll probably get it as well. I don't need a logo. I don't need a service worker. Not doing any testing. What might get ignore there? I guess all of this other stuff here we need. Here's a default README file that comes from the oh, I don't remember opening up node modules, but there we go. I think I'm going to add one more thing. I think we're going to do the SCSS as well. So node SAS. Let me see if it's SCSS or node SAS. So I'm just going to do an npm. It's node SAS. Yeah, it's node SAS, not SCSS. So I'm going to add that in, and all that does is it's like less, but not less. No other way of putting it. So I don't like their styling from Facebook styling off the bat. So I prefer to build an app completely from scratch if I can, and especially when we're at this level where we're just first starting. So the more practice I can get, the better. That way you understand where everything is. So we're going to go ahead and start it again. It's going to explode, but that's okay. And then let's see here. I'm going to turn this to app SCSS. I'm going to change this to app SCSS. Oh. It's going to complain about app SCSS. Yeah. All right. And then I'm going to select all, delete, save it. And let's see if it's as angry at us or not. Starting the development server again because I wanted SAS. Failed to compile. Cannot find resolve index CSS. So I've got. Oh, I missed one. Oops. Save it. Done. All right. Currently, it's completely useless. So let's inspect this and just take a look. We got class container div, but nothing is rendering. That's weird. This should be at least rendering something in here, like it was doing before. So let's see here if I can figure out this right quick. Jose. Long time no see. Not really.
It's been a minute.
All right. It's saying that this is compiled successfully, but it obviously hasn't. Let's refresh it. There we go. It just was being a pain. So it's working. It's rendering. So that's always nice. All right. So you guys learned about state and use effect and everything. So now we can start making interesting things. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to need to store the data that we're getting back from the Rick and Morty API. So we're going to do use state. And we're going to need to use Axios. So we're going to use effect. And of course, we're going to need Axios. All right. So first thing is I don't know, you guys want to get complicated or keep it easy? You guys just want one data object to work with, or you want multiple data objects?
Yeah, a few. Nice.
So how about if we get info and results and put them into two separate states so that we can, I guess, more easily see, you know, where this is going. So let's do info set info. And what is info usually? Info is usually an object. So we're just going to call it an empty object. Something like that. So I don't think this is usually an object. I think that's usually an array. So I made a bug right there. So let's make that an array. So next thing we need is we need a use effect. Okay. Just like that. So an Axios call. If you notice, we're trying to get Rick and Morty API character. So we're going to copy this. And I think I'm going to go ahead and just put this into its own little state. And we're just going to call this URL state, just in case I want to change it at some point. There. So if I wanted to make this, you know, change this, I would just have to set the URL to a different URL and it would start displaying everything from the new URL. So I think that would probably work out okay, except, you know, we'll see how that works. So let's do an Axios. And then we're gonna do URL. So now this, I just forgot. Somebody help me out on the promise on this. My brain just died.
Oh, then.
Then, that's right. English is confusing language sometimes. So then takes a function and we're going to console log result, and then we're going to do a catch just in case there's an error. And we're just going to console log the error. So this should be enough for us to at least get something or lock up the system and reboot. So set state is not defined. No, it's use state. I'm losing my mind.
You use the class, right? When you use class, you use set state, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be use state. Then console. So now we're getting data back. So you can see we're getting config, data. Here's our data. So we've got info and results. So that's pretty cool. So instead of console logging this out, what we're going to do is we're going to set info to result dot data dot info is info, like that. And we're going to set results to results data results. And we're just going to leave this console log in there so we can see what the data is that's coming in. So now if I save that, we still haven't put it into anything. We're not rendering anything, but the data is there. I can be pretty sure that it's there at least. If I wanted to console log these out, I would prefer to do it with a use effect because it's more reliable than just console logging it without a use effect.
Yeah, because when I did the console log there, and the first time it come out with a low value, then the second time the console log out.
Yeah.
So that's I wonder, is the use effect, this block of code is run after the everything is loaded, right?
So what it does is it renders on the virtual DOM one time.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of that first render, it does the use effect. So on this use effect, it does that, and it does it when these are changed. So it's only going to do it if I update your URL, info, or results. So, but it'll only do it once. So like I'm updating info and results, it's not gonna console log it out twice. So
any of this URL or info updated, this is where the use effect gonna run, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll run this when it's updated, or at the end. So like if I just save this like right now, we haven't done anything, but if you notice, it's console logged out on. Let's just make sure. So this was on app.js line 19. Yeah, so it hasn't really done anything there. So it's only when it updates that page. So line 24. What is line 24? Oh yeah, I guess it is doing it on line 24. What was in my mind? Here, we'll just take that out because we're not even going to use it. So if you notice, if I open this up, it's showing the URL, and then it's showing the info, and then it's showing the results. So my info is here, and then it's showing my results here.
No, I don't get it. So the first use effect set the information. That's why the second use effect run.
No, these you can have as many use effects as you want. The only reason why I have this here is just in case I update the results, the info, or the URL, so it'll console log. All it's doing is just making it so I can console log when there's a change.
The first use effect get the information. It doesn't mean it's a change.
Yeah, but like it's if I just did that and I changed my
I see.
and I changed my set results to, I save it, So it didn't like it, but maybe I need to put that into, let's see what we got. Too many re-renders, yeah. It doesn't like this set results right here, so I gotta put that into a use effect.
What does set result do? This, oh, you up there.
It's a state that we did.
Okay.
So if I do this, so that state has changed. So on the first render, it went in here and tried displaying these two here, which is the URL, the info, and this right here is just a result. So it's just doing an empty array and an empty object for info, and an empty array for results. So we've got URL. I can break these out onto different lines. That'll probably be a little more simple. Give me 1 second here. All right. So if you notice, the URL didn't change, but it still rendered it because it always renders twice. So it goes through and tries to render it once, and then it will try to do the second render with the updated information from this use effect here. So that set results, I just set it to a string. So you notice how we have the first render is URL is there. The second render is just an object that's empty because that's what's in our info here. It's just an empty object. There hasn't been, nothing's been populated into it. And then the results is an array because of this right here. So it's populated as an array. So when it does the second render, then URL hasn't changed. Info has changed, or sorry, info has not changed, but results is now a string that says this is a test. So it's the same thing that's happening here. Is this use effect is making a change, and because something changed, it's going to run this use effect here because results and info changed.
Does the order of the thing matter?
No, you could have URL.
No, I mean the two user effects order.
Say that again.
The two use effect order.
I can put this up here because they're both asynchronous. Come on.
I just try to think in the behind the scene how this code runs, you know, like.
Well, so like this use effect happened on the first render. This use effect also happened on the first render, but it's still going to be putting in.
Because the information didn't change, so it didn't run.
Yeah. So like if you notice, it's still doing the URL, the info, and the results. It still hasn't changed. The second time around, it has changed. So now we've got, you know, an object with count next, pages previous, and in results we now have an array of objects. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So
the order of the user effects doesn't really matter because, you know, in the background, let me see if I can find a little bit more graphical thing. So let's see if I can find something on this. I'm sure that somebody has an image of it. All right.
Okay.
So like they have, come on, let's find another one. Here we go. So like this is actually kind of an older representation, but this mounting stage is where it's getting all of the components in the right place to be hydrated by the data. So it basically, kind of like when you guys were doing your DOM manipulation and you made the structure for everything, this is where it does the structure for everything, where, you know, it's got the class names, but it doesn't have any content in, say, your paragraph tags or your anchor tags or whatever. It's going through and it's rendering what is in your return statement first. And then when it updates, this is when it does all of your use effects is at the end of this this mounting. So the use effects come in, it brings in data, and then it goes through and it updates and hydrates that website and puts in all the data that it should have. And then unmounting, I'm not even going to get into that. But these are the two renders that you're trying to go through. And I don't know, I guess they have other versions as well, but it's overcomplicated to really shoot it out as hey, it's got to render twice. Just know that it renders twice. It has to go through the first render to know what needs to be updated. And it's kind of one of the harder things to explain in React, because everybody thinks that it's just going to display what's on the screen, but that's not really how it works, especially when you get into asynchronous data. So it has to wait until all the promises are fulfilled in your updates, anything that updates, before it can repaint the screen. And then it goes through and repaints the screen based off the data that it got in through the use effect. So I'll go ahead and close that. So with this, we're just trying to see what our URL is, what our info is, and what our results are. And that way we know that we got data and that it went into our state. So these are our three state things. So this is actually a lot easier to do than, you know, doing it in just one object and then having to break it out multiple times. So again, all our Axios does is it's getting this URL here, so Rick and Morty API character, and then we're setting the info from result data info, which on this is just, you know, information on how many items there are, how many pages there are, where the next page is, where the previous page is. So like if I just copy this in here and we go up here and paste this in, the info is going to change and it'll have a previous page where it has page 3 and page 1. Notice how it has like 30 pages. So but if I go to page 3, there's page 3, page 4, and that's kind of, you know, how you're going to make it work is by using these things. If you want to go previous and next, you've got to be able to tell if there's a previous or next. So this is kind of nice to have. It's not really anything that we're really going to get into today. At least I don't think so, unless we have lots of time. Anyway, let's get on into consuming this array right quick. So Right now, we just have it where it says this is a test, and we can loop through this if we want. So what we're going to do is results.map. And that is going to have a result, and I'm going to put it in an index. So like yesterday, the keys, it doesn't like it when there's not a unique number on the index or on your key. So if I just did like a P here, I would have to do key equals index, and then I can do this is a test again. I'll save it, and this should loop through. Yeah, failed to compile, of course. I'm going to refresh this. Expected an assignment or function call and sets on expression, no unused expressions. 36.9. Let me take a look. It don't like that. No, I know what it is. Keep doing that. We're still in JSX here. So I had a curly bracket there at the end of the map. It don't like that. All right, so now we've got this is a test, however many times we've got information from Rick and Morty. So any of these 20 is just going to output this is a test. We're not actually doing anything with the information in here, but you know, if we wanted to, we could actually just do something other than this is a test, like result dot name. And now we've actually got data coming through. All right, so I don't know, let's put an image in here. I think I'm going to make this a little more detailed than that. All right, so image source, if we go and we look at the results and we just look at this first one here, you notice it has a dot image. So that'll give us the image. So we're going to do result dot image. It didn't like that. It needs, I keep forgetting. This is where you get into fragments again.
You spelled image wrong, I think.
Did I? Yeah, yep. I did. Isn't it English? Not so good at English. I think it's going to be my next language. Let me see what I did. Oh, it's needs to end. There we go. Self-closing tag. So now we've got pictures and text. Should we put a search box on it?
Sure.
Might as well. All right, so let's see how we do a search box. On this one, it's a little weird because I think they have, say I'm on episodes or something. I don't want character. See how they have filter character here? So they've got name, status, species, type, gender. Those are the different filters. And notice how you have this name, Rick, and then and% status. That's a query line. So we're going to be adding something to the end to make this work. So let's just do name, and I want to see if this will work, because I'm just going to do name equals and then leave it blank. So we can just, so we're just going to do question mark name equals, save it, and let's see if this crashes. Still works, but let's do pickle. Name equals pickle, save. Oh, there's Pickle Rick. So I'm doing a search, but I'm having to recompile. So all I need to do is have something that takes up this space right here. So I guess probably we need to do something in either the.
Well, you can go through the name.
Yeah, but we still
already have all the information, right?
Yeah, we still need to set the state of something, right? So we need to have something to hold the state that we're filling in for the text box.
Oh yeah.
So if we do, we'll just call this search set search. No, not hitting the wrong key. And we're just going to put pickle in there to start. And so let's say that we put these two here. We'll go ahead and use a template literal on this. And so this is a string that's concatenating URL and search. I'm sure I could have just used plus or whatever, it would work just fine, but I'm just wanting to get fancy. So let me just save it. So now this should be concatenating pickle on the end of name. And it is. So if I delete pickle, we should be back to normal. Okay, we're back to normal. So you guys want to make it so it's a live search?
Yeah, you add a section for the search. You can input the search name you want, right?
Oh, we'll get to that here in a little bit, but this will be fun. Let's try this. So let's make a form. And let's do what do we want? We need an input. What was it? I always forget the name of form elements.
Yeah.
I deal with them on a daily basis and I can't think. Let's see. Yeah, it's just an input type text. So we're going to do an input. All right, so let's just see if this shows up at the top. Oh, come on. We're getting into that fragment thing again. Nope. No multiple parents. There's only one parent. No. Oops. There we go. All right, so now there is a text box. It doesn't do anything, right? So how do I deal with input handling on this?
On change.
Okay. So let's do, oh, come on. Let's do something on the on change. So we're going to set search equals, so doesn't this have to have a value as well? Always forget. Pretty sure its value is going to be search. This is going to have an E, so this is going to have an E dot target. You. I'm just going to save that. Oh, that's broken. Set search as a function. Like that. Save it. All right, let's just see. Okay, cool. So that's probably working okay. So let's throw this into our dependency array here and make a that, save it. And let's see if this is actually storing data or not. I'm going to say it's working. So every single time that I'm typing something, it's updating the state. So you can see, you know, this is a test, this is a test, this is a test, you know, like that. But it's not doing anything to the search. It's not getting anything for the Axios. Would we like to make this live or just have a submit button? Let's see if we can blow up the API calls. So I know that it's working, but if I put in my use effect, I'm not going to put in anything in there for data or, you know, no set info, no set results. Otherwise, it'll just continually loop. You'll blow away all of your API keys quickly. But what if I put in search? Every single time that search updates, it then does a new Axios get. So let's save that. So if I start typing in a P, I, C, K, it live searches the database. Or I can just clear it and it goes back. So if I wanted all RICs, there's all of the RICs or at least one page of them. What do you think? Maybe?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. So difficult questions, comments, concerns, neatness? You guys want to see how to do it with the submit button, or is live searching better? Nobody wants to talk. I guess everybody likes the live
Yeah.
search better.
I think live works well.
So and it's kind of nice. I think we can actually technically even get rid of this form. Let's try it. I think we just have an input. Save it. All right. Yeah, still works. Didn't even need a form. There's Morty. Here, let's look up Aqua. Aqua Morty, Aqua Rick. And if you wanted to access more of these results, you just open up, you know, one of these, and you know, say you wanted, I don't know, their status. That sounds fine. So we could do let's do see, I think this we probably should put this in a div and then move this key over to that div there, like that. Otherwise it'll complain about not having a key on its parent element. Yeah, it probably should be better if it was an article anyway, so more semantic that way. People use divs way too much in React. But so now I have to break out of JSX mode here into JavaScript mode, which is the curly brackets. And we're going to do result.status. Save it. And now we've got alive, 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 alive. Lots of alives. Unknown. Adjudicator Rick is dead. Agency director. I wonder how many directors they have. Let's do director. There's only one director and he's dead. So we have just consumed part of the API in an hour from scratch with search bar. So that's like stretch level, right? So horrible. So, but yeah, if you do live version of it, it's going to suck down your API hits, and pretty soon you won't be able to use it. And then you're stuck for the next hour not doing anything. So what Nicholas was saying is just copy some of the results into a notepad, save it, and then import it. Makes your life a lot easier. So I will stop recording.